Hello, welcome to The Soul Project.
Glad you could join us.
I'm Elizabeth Vera.
And I'm Jorge Guerra.
And we are your co-hosts for this lovely podcast where we take you along with us as we unfold our soul journeys.
Hopefully some of our own chaos can help navigate yours.
Thank you for listening, and let's get into it.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning back in to another episode with The Soul Project.
Hi guys, we're so excited to have you back. We've got a really juicy episode. We think we just wanted to bring back the last time we did six mind shifts, and this time we're coming back with 6 habits since you guys really seem to have enjoyed that episode, and we just wanted to do a little bit more with that. So
yeah, we're excited to get into it. So we have a lot to offer, a lot to talk about. So very excited to be back in this space.
Yes. Yeah. It's currently raining outside.
It's a vibe.
Yes. I don't know if you can hear the thunder or rain through this audio, but I don't know. It's just like it's helping kind of set up our mood and our vibe. And
very soothing.
Yeah. We love a good summer rain. So hope you guys have been having a good summer so far. And I'm excited to do this one.
So one thing we had mentioned in one of the earlier episodes was pulling a card just to kind of have like a little bit of a theme for the episode. So we wanted to go ahead and do that.
Yes. So just to get an idea of the energy right now and what you need to hear. So hopefully this resonates with you all in some way. And I'll just take from the top. I already shuffled these prior. And we have creativity. It's a good day for creative expression. Painting, writing, dancing, or simply putting a bit of creativity into your daily projects can make your day special. It is a great time to create.
Yes.
Wow, that feels on brand.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that one. This is a good time to work on those projects that you've been putting off and getting some ideas into the works. So good time to get creative and fun, especially with Leo season coming up soon. That energy is fun and creative anyways. So I think it'll be a good time for any of that fun stuff. So alrighty. Well, let's just get into it.
Yeah, we have lots to talk about.
We do. Do you want to start us off?
So basically, what we had mentioned earlier was talking about 6 different habits that we each have and stuff that we've incorporated into our lives that we've noticed like along the way that has definitely helped us kind of with like the different goals that we have and just implementing them on a daily basis and kind of how they've helped us in different things like that. So starting off with one for me that I really have, at first I struggled with it just because I wasn't used to it, but that's taking 5 to 10 minutes every morning to just dedicate to cleaning up my room. That's putting a shirt in the laundry bin or putting shoes where they need to go, different things like that, just because the expression that people say, the state of your room determines the state of your mental health. I think that applies to me so much. Like if my room is clean, then I feel pretty good about myself. I feel like my mental health is in a good state. But if I start to neglect my room, I think that reflects on myself and that I'm neglecting something, So I think it's one of the easier things that I can do, in my opinion, is just taking 5 to 10 minutes every morning to just tidy up a little bit. And that includes, making my bed and stuff, which years back I would have never, I'm kind of ashamed to admit that, but
we're human.
Years back I wasn't really the type to make my bed every morning. It was like some mornings, during college I was, leaving my apartment out in a rush and stuff. So I didn't necessarily have the time, but in reality it was more just me not being able to, time or manage my own time, So I think through the years I've learned to kind of just deal with that a little bit better. But I do think personally, in my experience with all of that it has benefited me greatly, just because coming home from work or coming home from a long day of doing whatever and having like a nice room does feel nice, especially for myself, where I love being out. I love, socializing with my friends and going out and meeting people and stuff. But at the same time, I also need to recharge constantly, and I need to be in my space. And if I'm feeling just, super low on energy and I come home and my room is, a little bit of a mess,
socks on the floor.
Yeah, I don't necessarily feel like I'm recharging,
Yeah.
even in the sense of like where I'm uncomfortable because I know I have things to do and I don't take care of it, but also just like the state of it being the way that it is just kind of affects my mind in such a weird way that I don't even know how to explain it.
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think I'm also kind of on the making your bed in the morning. And it just like changes. Like it's a game changer. To start off your day with just like a like nice bed, because I don't know, it's just like your room, the rest of the room could be a mess, but like if
The
your
bed
like
makes a
bed
difference.
is like done, it's
Yeah.
like and then like coming back, it's kind of just like looking out for your future self. Like that's one less thing you have to do when you come back.
Yeah. And I think it definitely ties in with having some type of routine is what I like to put myself on, like like a schedule for each week.
Yeah.
Having like specific days for laundry, and not only does it help me, but it also helps my family, just because we all know, oh, today's Thursday, he's going to be doing his laundry and stuff like that,
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, in a way, just allows things to flow a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure.
And I also recently have gotten into Florida water,
Oh.
which is very good. It came across my TikTok and I saw that
Yeah.
it's very good for like cleansing your energy, cleansing your space, even for yourself and stuff. So I see a lot of people, they kind of use it as not like a way to wash your hands, but after you wash your hands, like you can like use it as like hand sanitizer, different things like that. Or some people like rub it through their hair, like on their scalp, to kind of clear like their chakras and stuff. And I've noticed such a big difference.
Really?
And when I was doing some research on it, I came across this one girl that when she's done cleaning her room and she's about to mop, she pours a little bit into her like little bucket that she mops with.
Yeah.
And she mops her floor with it. And she was saying all the benefits of it. And one of the big things she said is that it definitely helps cleanse the energy in her house and makes things feel lighter and just more at peace, and makes it more of a home. So I tried it and it honestly makes such a big difference. I wanted to try it in my room first before I did the whole house, because I didn't want, you know how
you gotta
Hispanic
feel it out,
moms,
right?
And so I did it upstairs and I loved it. And so
Awesome.
I tried it downstairs a few days later without saying anything to anyone. And my mom was like so happy, more than she usually is, and she was like, everything just feels so different, like it just feels so much lighter. And I told her, and at first she was kind of like weary about it,
Right.
but kind of she started believing on it and stuff. But honestly, I live by that stuff.
That's really interesting. I remember you mentioning it
Yeah.
at one time, but that's really interesting that you could like feel that difference.
Yeah.
So I'll have to get some Florida water. This is not sponsored.
Yeah.
But I'll have to get some of that because, you can never be too, there can never be too many things that can allow you to have that cleanse. Because even if you have like the clean room, like, you're picking up on so much out there. So,
and I obviously,
good.
it's obviously not one of those things that you just want to like solely depend on and say like, if I do this, then I'm gonna have, I think it all comes down to your intentions with it.
Yeah.
So just like being very intentional, setting the intention beforehand, like this is what I want out of this is what I'm gonna get from this, and just
Right.
believing that you're in that energy,
Yeah, for sure.
And it definitely helps.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, that's good. I definitely feel the whole, like, your mental health is based on kind of also your environment. It does have a really big impact on how we feel. So I definitely back that habit up because it's a good thing, sometimes it's easy to like get all caught up in like the routine and stuff, but even if just taking like a little bit time out of your day to make sure everything's clean and tidy is good. So awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll start on mine as well. So one of my habits that I feel like has really been life-changing is just really including like a meditation practice. And I'm not saying like a strict like daily thing, and this can be some sort of meditation. So sometimes it's just walking, going on a walk and listening to a podcast. You could be listening to the Soul Project, or it's maybe it's just sitting down for 5 to 10 minutes and just doing like some breath work, some breathing exercises, or a lot of times I'll just like listen to like healing frequency music. Like I would go to bed like listening to this music, and I kid you not, kind of the same thing with like your Florida water experience.
Yeah.
Once I started to listen to these frequencies at night, I would wake up in like such a different mood.
It
Like,
makes a big difference.
it really does. Like I definitely like felt a shift or like a change in like my like brain and like my just like body, cuz I would be the one, like I would wake up and I'd be like, all right, what are the 10 things I have to do today? Like I'm
Yeah.
like, good morning, and like I'm already like planned like 3 things.
Yeah.
So that also kind of created some like anxiety in the morning, and it's like that's not how you want to wake up.
No.
So I don't know, it just like helped me like relax to where like I wake up and it's not like, okay, let me think about all the things I have to do today. It's just kind of like, okay, we're new day. It's just kind of like taking a moment, taking
One step at a time.
Yeah, and it's like waking up at just a little bit more peaceful,
Yeah.
and it's just like, I don't know, it just helped like regulate that a little bit more. And another thing too, along with meditation practice, I love to journal. And that's also very like meditative and like healing, because sometimes like there's a lot going up here, so
Yeah.
you just need to get it out on paper. And journaling has been like, it's been very transformative. And there's so many like there's so much information out there on like what you can do for journaling and like prompts and stuff, and it's really just, it forces you to take the time to like do some reflection, do some like internal like work, and just looking within and making sure that like you as your being are like feeling fulfilled, and like if there's something that's like tipping you off, or like you just don't know what's going on within you. I'm not saying this is like a good way to replace therapy, but I think it helps a lot.
Yeah.
I think it helps you like kind of take that moment to like look within yourself, and especially like during this time of like, we always say like your 20s and stuff, but like this is a very transformative
Yeah.
time, and this is where we're still very sensitive to external factors. Like I think as you grow up, you're a little bit less I guess not worried, but like you're not taking as much in of what other people's
Yeah.
opinions are, what they're thinking. I think you just kind of don't care as much when you grow up. But we're still kind of in that where I think it's good to just like make sure like, where are my beliefs, where are my opinions, where are my feelings at, and like making sure that you're very you just get a good sense of who you are, and
Yeah.
like this is the time to do that, and because you're still like forming that, and this is like a good time to kind of sit with that and like, okay, where am I at and who am I am now, and where do I want to go? So journaling and meditation has been very crucial for that transformation for me personally, and I will always vouch for it. And again, it could be anything. Like you don't have to be like sitting down like with your hands, like it's not like your typical like meditation.
What you
Although,
would think of.
yeah, that you would think of. Like it can be anything that just makes you kind of sit down for a second and not think about everything that's going on, especially today's day and age where there's so much going on around the world, and it's really easy to get caught up in that and not just like take a moment to like really just balance yourself and kind of ground yourself and realign, so that you're stepping into the world in a stronger sense and not easily able to be kind of tipped off. So
And I think going off of what you said, how it doesn't just have to be meditating of what we think of. It can be literally anything. For example, one thing that I like to do before bed as part of like my night routine, you know, like my shower, my skincare and all of that. And I think that's a good way of just like grounding myself, and it allows me to just turn my brain off before bed. That way, once I can go to bed, there's like a good separation of like my bed and then everything else, you know?
Right.
Because it's so easy to bring your daily thoughts and what you have to do and task, literally everything, to bed, and you could just sit there all night, and you know.
Yeah,
so I think it's meditation is such an important aspect to your life. Morning, evening, like whenever you have the chance to, you know, like I think it's super crucial.
It is. And like it's been like scientifically proven to like help regulate your nervous system. Like I know a lot of people who have like severe anxiety, or they have problems with focusing. There are like practices of like breath work is a really good way to regulate your nervous system. It can, like, just breathing, like a lot of times that nervous feeling in your body, whenever you get in that kind of anxious, you stop breathing, like you literally stop taking in oxygen. So that's why your body's like freaking out, because we're not breathing. So that's why like breath work and like getting oxygen into your body, and like exercise does this too. That's why your body's like, okay, you know, we're in a like calmer nervous state of being, because we know that we're good, we're receiving oxygen. So I know sometimes whenever it's like I'm stressed, like I just have to be like, okay, breathe, like just breathe, like take some, like even if it's just like 3 big breaths, it can like completely take you from like up here to like down here. So it's very important, I think. So I'm advocate.
Yes, thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Yeah. So going on to my next one, I think it's one that you see often on like TikTok, whatever, social media, but I think once I actually started applying it to my life, it definitely improved things for myself. And that was getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a day, just because it makes such a big difference, for one, in my mood, and 2, in my energy. And I had a lot of things where I wasn't even busy to where I couldn't get, you know, that much hours of sleep. It was just that I was on my phone, because it was so easy for me to just get like sucked up in TikTok, and it, you know, 10 minutes of scrolling on TikTok turns into 2 hours before you even realize it, you know? And so one other thing that I also kind of did to help with like the whole 7 to 8 hours of sleep was I used to have my bed in front of my TV. And so there was really no separation of like, my bed is just for sleep, you know. If I wanted to watch TV, I'd be on my bed and stuff. So once it was bedtime, it was easy. Oh, let me just watch one show, you know, one episode, and I'll be good. But then you get hooked, and then you're 3 episodes in, and it's like, oh, I only have like 4 or 5 hours left of sleep, you know. So it definitely was such a big, like a aha moment when I realized, you know what, like, those shows and TikTok and whatever, all those distractions are always going to be there. And sleep is more important, because it also would sometimes kind of affect the relationships around me, just because I was in a bad mood. And even my mom sometimes would be like, I don't want to be around you right now. You're in a bad mood. Like, go take a nap or go do something, you know, like, you know. So it definitely, you know, made me put things into perspective. And I was like, you know what, this isn't healthy that, you know, I'm staying up all these, like this late and stuff. So definitely something that I've been incorporating and stuff, and it definitely helps with work and stuff too, because it helps me to be a little bit more energetic. And it's such a cliche thing, but if you have the opportunity to like set the time to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep at least, like, it makes such a big difference.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure. I've always been like, my sleep comes first. Like, I will not function the next day if I like don't get enough sleep. So like I stand by that one too. Like, it's so important. And like, sleep deprivation is a very harmful thing to your body and your state of being. So please get your sleep and get your rest, because it's like your body's way of like resetting. And
Listen to your body.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like your body knows you. Trust me.
Yeah.
Like listen to it. So, yeah. No, definitely sleep all the way.
Yeah. And I have so like another one that kind of tied into this one, but thinking about it now after you mentioned your last one, it kind of ties in with like the whole meditating habit, and that's going to the gym. For me, it's going to the gym. That's kind of my space to kind of just like unwind, even though sometimes I am like weightlifting and it's a little bit more intense, but it kind of puts me in a headspace where I can just forget about everything, and I'm only focused in the moment of like, oh, this weight is really heavy, this is what I'm focusing on right now, you know. And so it's either, you know, going to the gym or like what you said, going on a walk or a run, just being active for at least an hour a day. That's definitely helped me, just because it kind of just allows me to forget about everything else, and it just allows me to, you know, be focused in the moment and stuff. Or even if it's just a walk, maybe it doesn't necessarily help, like it doesn't necessarily make things go away in terms of like my thoughts and stuff, but at least it helps me to be out in nature and stuff where I can better sort things out in my head, you know. Because what you said, like anxiety is a big thing and it's real sometimes, you know. So sometimes we get in this headspace where we forget to breathe, like we need to breathe, you know. And going on walks and different things like that definitely helps, you know.
No, for sure, I agree. Like I've realized the times when I'm like not doing as much like exercise, like you just get so stressed and you get like really grumpy, like you're just like mood is just, you don't have anywhere to like release that, you know. Like you need that release. I'm the same way. Like I realize like dancing for me is like my thing. Like I need to do some sort of like dance. So my hip hop class I hold true to my heart. So, and I realized like I think you start like seeing what works for you too. So I feel like I need a variety of things. So I'm like, I love doing my hip hop, or sometimes I'll just do like some weights, and if not, then I love my spin class too. I was
about to say cycling.
Yeah, I love my spin class. So it's like, and it's fun. Like, you know, I think I'm definitely more of like a group class setting, because I love like doing it with other people. Like I don't know, it's just like it just lifts your mood too. It's not just like, it's like a fun thing to do, you know, like you're with other people, and you kind of feed off their energy too. So
feels like a community.
Yeah, it does. So it's like, it's good to have those in your routine and your part of your like lifestyle, because then it's like, where are you going to put all this energy in, you know? You got to release it somewhere. And if it's not in something that's like you're choosing to do it at this time, then you're gonna, again, like you said, it could make you feel grumpy, so it's gonna come out at some point, and if it doesn't come out when you want it to, it's gonna come out in some other form,
and it's not always good,
and it's not always good. So no, for sure, that is very important. Awesome. These habits. I hope you guys are
writing this down.
And you guys are probably doing these things too anyways. So if you are, please comment down below.
Or give us like what, like if you do it, but you do it with like a little bit of a twist or something.
Right.
Like, you know, just let us know, or give us some tips too.
Yeah. Or if you have any like other habits that are like, oh, you guys need to like look into this or try this out because it changed my life, like please do share that with us. And we're always looking for, you know, ways to
improve,
make our life better, you know. So my second habit, also kind of on the like mental health, is being super, not like picky, but like very mindful of how I talk to myself and about myself. I think it's really like common in our like kind of generation to like say things about ourselves that are not really that kind, but in like a comedic way. And it's like, oh, this is how we bond. Like, oh yeah, like, I don't know, just the like, oh, I don't know, just like the whole culture of that. I feel like it's actually very harmful for us, and I'm definitely like, um, I definitely have done this in the past, and this is something I've been trying to change because your words are very powerful, and how you talk to yourself is how you will see yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like your brain will take that as facts. So if you're like, I'm not a great person, or like, I am like terrible at everything, or like, oh, I'm dumb, or like, I'm stupid, like, I don't dare say that. Like, I don't even like, not even in a funny way, like, I just, because I take that so seriously. And it's just like that has changed just like my confidence so much. Like, I've noticed ever since I've been very like on like trying to get myself to not say certain things, or like not be negative in the way that I like portray myself or see myself. Like, it's really just changed the way that I feel about myself, and like that also goes into everything that you do, and the way that you and like your success, and what the outcomes that you have in your life. So that's something that like I've been very mindful of. And I say that because, like, again, like I said, in our generation, it's like you see comments like, or TikToks and stuff about like I don't know, like,
I feel like one that gets thrown around a lot, or that I used to say,
Yeah.
oh, I'm broke.
yeah, that
know,
too.
I'm broke, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, stuff like that. That's like a big thing too, is making sure that you're not saying things like, oh, I can't do that, or like, I'm too poor, or like,
Yeah.
I don't have time to do anything. You know, it's like, you should be careful with what you're saying, because you will believe these things, and if you believe these things, then they are true. You know, like whatever your brain takes in as facts is what you will truly believe. So why would you want to believe that you're not capable of things? Like, why would you want to believe that? Like, I would want to believe like I'm capable of anything,
Yeah.
you know? And so that also goes in with affirmations. So big affirmation girl.
Yeah.
And I know it's like like the cheesy, like, okay, she's doing her affirmations, or like, okay, do you really need these sticky notes like on the desk? Yes, I do. Like, I want to be seeing these things everywhere. Like my lock screens, they're affirmations. Like everywhere I go, I'm making sure that I am surrounding myself with like just good thoughts and good energy, because what you consume is what you believe, and what you believe is what you become. So,
Ooh, I like that.
yes.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yes, coming soon. So I want to become the greatest, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be thinking that I can't do things or talking bad about myself. And they always say, like, treat yourself how you would treat your best friend. Like, would you be saying these things to your best friend?
Yeah.
Would you be telling them that they don't deserve this? Or, like, would you be telling them that, like, you're too poor? Like, obviously not. Like, you're not going
think
to treat them.
In our friendship, that would be so unnatural, or just such a, like, if I were to say that to you, or if you were to say that to me, we'd both be like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Like,
because
you know,
I wouldn't dare say that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
it's just not like genuine, you know?
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, because, and then again, like, how you treat others, or how you treat yourself, is how you'll treat others.
It reflects.
It reflects.
Yeah.
So, I think if you're, first and foremost, be kind to yourself, and that'll spread, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a habit that I've like been trying to implement, and it's been very helpful. And I think we should try to move forward with like, no, actually, we're all great. You
Yes.
know, like, we do all deserve what we're trying to succeed and
Yeah.
and we're let's be the positive, like, mindset people.
It's
and
cheesy, but like, it's true.
it's so true.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I think we can all we need to all give ourselves more grace and more compassion.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times what we think is negative about ourselves are just amplified because we're like hyper aware of it. But
Yeah.
nobody notices
I was about to
it.
say half the
So,
time. Honestly, most of the time, people don't even
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
You know?
They're too busy like figuring, like trying to
Yeah.
do that, or they're trying to hide whatever they're trying to hide from everyone else. Like everyone's too busy like
Yeah.
focusing on themselves and like in comparison. So let's just make it a habit to be kind to ourselves, because you guys are amazing.
Yes.
And we're all great, and we're all going to be really successful,
We're going to achieve great
impactful
things.
people.
Yes,
Yeah.
impactful people.
Yes. We're out here doing really awesome stuff. So
Yeah.
let's treat ourselves as such. So,
Period.
period. This is my campaign, anyways.
I'm dead. Yeah.
So-
No, that's a really good one.
Yes.
Especially with our generation, like you mentioned, just because we can be serious, but I think we also do have a like a playful, joking around type of mindset with our conversations and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's gotten very easy to just slip that out into like a conversation through text or social media or in person, just because
Right.
it kind of became natural. To
Yeah.
a certain extent, it
The
became natural,
self-deprecation, Like
yeah.
it's such a big thing. Like, why?
So it was one of those things where, like, I don't know, I think you have to rewire your brain to speak differently because it feels natural sometimes,
Right. Yeah. No, it's definitely like I had to catch myself a lot of times. I'm like, or agreeing to things. Like if people like, it's really funny because you'll realize once you start like being mindful of it, once someone says something about themselves that's like negative, they'll almost like wait for you to say the same thing about yourself.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? It's like, it's really interesting. Like you'll start noticing that. And it's like, do we just all want to like, I feel like it's a comfort thing. Like nobody wants to feel like they're sticking out or want to come across as like, oh, they're cocky, they're like, they think they're the greatest out there. And it's like that's not what we're implicating here. It's like you need to be mindful of like, why are you trying to make yourself feel that way? Like I know we're all trying to like fit in,
Yeah.
but I think once you start like realizing that and being mindful of it, you'll realize like how much it actually does come up and how much
Yeah.
like people kind of expect other people to do the same and like feel the same way. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah. And kind of going off on that habit that you were talking about, my last habit is very similar to that, in the sense where I had noticed that I was reaching a point where instead of looking at things in terms of like a positive way, I was looking at things in like a negative way, and I was always trying to find like the negative thing in whatever it was, And so a habit that I had to incorporate was a lot of like, which when I realized this, it was kind of hard just because it felt like this is something that you learn in like elementary school and it's think before you speak, but it really was that, because someone could have been like, oh, how was work? Oh, it was so bad. This and this happened. Like, and it's more of trying to get to where, oh, how was work? It was good. It was good. I'm glad that I was able to go in and kind of just like shifting your mind to kind of rephrasing things. Like one thing that I saw was instead of saying I have to go to the gym, it's I get to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Or I have to go to work, I get to go to work. Just rewording things, because what you mentioned earlier about how what you say affects us, like it's so true. Like if you say I have to go to work, that feels more of like a chore of like I don't want to do this.
You don't get a choice.
Yeah. But if you say I get to go to work, it feels more of like, oh wow, I feel honored that I have this thing that I get to go to and find, whatever it is that I need to be like a positive thing for it to come out of that, And it's hard just because our brains, we get so used to thinking that way sometimes and having to like reshift my mind to think a different way. Like it's hard, And it's also like having to kind of show that to my parents as well.
Yeah.
Because my parents aren't negative people, but I think sometimes we all had kind of like a way of talking that wasn't like the most positive. So it was just like, I remember like kind of introducing that to them was also such a weird, like, what are you talking about? Like, that feels so weird, you know?
Yeah.
But like as you go on and like progress with it and you get more used to it and stuff, it becomes more natural. And it kind of motivates you and gives you like a certain amount of power that you didn't think you have, you know, because we're powerful beings, you know.
Yeah.
And we're so capable of doing so many things, but the people we surround ourselves with, the things we consume, the way we talk to ourselves, it's the way that we see ourselves. So all that affects everything, you know. So it's super important. And I think I had just gotten to a point where I was just feeling like nothing was going right. But in reality, it wasn't that nothing was going right. It was more, I was just looking at it in a different perspective than I should have. You know, I was just looking for the bad in everything, you know, which in that case, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to find what you're truly looking for. And you're going to block yourself from so many blessings and so many open doors and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, it's crazy how, like, powerful you were saying, like, our minds are.
Yeah.
And the quality of your life, and I'm not saying it's solely based on your mentality, but it plays a really big part. I know there's, like, a lot of scientific studies about it, like, people who have negative thoughts, like, their brain activity is actually less than people who think positively.
Yeah.
Like, it's a thing. Like, I know there's, like, another study about just, like, how crazy your brain can, like, impact your body as well.
Yeah.
There was a study done with, like, these two groups of ladies who were cleaning, like, a hotel building. And one group was told, like, the benefits of their job and the physical activity that they do every day and how, like, it's good for their body. And another group was not given that information. So they took, like, all of the, like, physical information, and they, like, took their, like, weight and, like, their muscle mass and everything. And then they came back, I think, like, a month later. They tested both groups. And the groups that were given the information about how, like, their job is, like, I guess, helpful for their body in terms of, like, exercise and physical activity, they showed, like, greater results in, like, their, like, physical capabilities than those who were not given the information. They were doing the same job. They were doing the same exact thing, except one group was given the, I guess, information, or they started believing that what they're doing every day is good for them. And the other group didn't have that. So it's like, I don't know, just crazy how just the idea of, like, what you're doing is, like, good for you, and, like, just going in with that attitude changes. Like,
it impacts so much.
Yeah, it changes your life and your results. Yeah, for sure. Like, making sure that, and isn't that crazy how it's so easy to like, find the negative things and everything? Like, if you think about it, like, the negative and the positive, like, they're both the same thing in terms of, like, they're both different sides of the spectrum, but it's so easy to, like, lean towards the negative. Like, we're conditioned to, like, look at what's going wrong in our life and not what's going right in our life.
Yeah.
And your brain wants to be right every single time. So if you want to believe that everything is going wrong in your life, like, your brain's going to prove you right every single time. So again, all these habits are great. I also have also applied that habit. So, because it's like, why not? If you get to choose between thinking about things that are bad or good, you might as well think about things that are good, you know, right? But it's easier said than done. Like, obviously it takes practice and it takes deconditioning. Because our mind automatically wants to go to to go to, like, the negative stuff. But with time, I feel like and you can tell me if this has been for you too, like, it's easier to, like, automatically see the good things and appreciate it.
It's just one of those things where with habits, you're not gonna get it right off the bat. You have to practice and practice and practice, and there's gonna be times where you mess up, and that's completely fine and that's completely normal. But you just have to stick to it and commit to wanting to, whenever you do mess up, to correct it and just improve each and every day. And eventually you kind of start noticing a difference to the point where you even forget
Right.
what the past was or how you were thinking in the past.
Exactly. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, my last habit, third for me, 6 overall. This is just like a little, I'm sure that a lot of people do this too, but something that I've needed to do is make lists. Or if I'm like, I've got, 20 ideas that I need to write down, because otherwise it just gets like all jumbled up here and I just get stressed about it. So I've realized it's so simple. Just like making some sort of like something that helped me. I found something that was like it's like a little chart, and it's just like 4 different quadrants. And you just put in like the important and urgent and like not important and not urgent. So you can kind of like place them based off of like maybe something is important but it's not urgent.
Yeah.
Or like something is important and it's urgent. It's like categorizing it, and it's just like I just need to see it on paper. I've realized that, and I've learned, because if I don't see it, I just won't do it. It won't get done. Like, easy as that. So very simple, but if you're a visual person like I am, that is a life hack. And I say life hack because the minute I started doing that, like, things actually started getting done, instead of just like, okay, I'll eventually do that. Or like I made a mental note. No, that doesn't work for me. Like, I need to write it down. It needs to be up in my face every single day. So I can do it. And it's just being honest with yourself of like what needs to get done, or like what you need to do in order for things to get done, and make things happen. So,
and it's super satisfying just being able to check it out.
It is.
And it gives you like this adrenaline to want to check more things off,
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I definitely, I can attest to that. I'm the same way.
There's nothing like, and like low-key, there's like that joke that goes around. It's like the only reason why I make a checklist is so I can like cross it off. And it's like low-key, sometimes I'll put things that I already did on. I'm like, I already did this, but I'm gonna put it on the list so I can cross it off.
Because the psychology of it is like it gives you that like energy to keep going. It's like, oh, I washed the dishes even though I did that an hour ago. Let me write it down and check it off.
Yeah, it's so satisfying. So it's the little things. But yeah, no, definitely. So that's like something I've like had to start doing, especially like as you're growing up. Your memory is not as great, and not like terrible, but like I just need to get organized with my thoughts, because if they don't get organized, then it's just not pretty. So
and I feel like even just as you start growing, especially in your 20s, you start getting more responsibilities.
There's just a lot more going on.
There's a lot more going on, and it's harder to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
Because I think back to when I was in college, like I never was the type of person to use like a planner and agenda. And I had classes where I had things due like every Sunday or every Thursday, whatever. And I think back and I'm like, how did I never mess up? Like I ingrained in my brain, like, oh, today's Thursday, I have this due. Sunday this due. Tuesday, like things like that,
Yeah.
And I think back and I'm like, I could have, if I try to do that now, I would not be able to.
Yeah, no, for sure. Same. I'm like, I used to like have a planner, but again, it was a lot easier to like, oh, I know when I have things due, but now it's like, I gotta write things down, because if I don't, then I'm like, it gets put on like the backest burner that there is, and it just doesn't happen, or like never actually like I never finish it or anything. So it's like, and it's just like a good thing to like put even things that aren't like, I would say, quote unquote, like important or urgent, but it's like something you want to do, or like an idea you have. Like, it's always good to write it down, because you could forget, and like it might have been a really good idea. And then it's like, well, who knows? You know, like, oh well, I don't know what it was. So I've just been very like trying to make a habit of like writing things down because it just helps clear up things up here. You know, got to clean your room, got to clean the mind.
Yeah.
So that's just part of it. So
I like that.
yeah. Awesome. Well, again, if you liked any of these habits or have any other habits,
Let us know.
hear. Yeah, let us know. And we've got some other stuff in here that kind of is connected to like our habits and just trying to, you know, make our lives more fulfilled and, you know, watching out for ourselves and our future selves. So, got some lovely books.
Yes.
And we just want to do like a little bit of like just like some books that have also helped like change our life and help us to become the version of ourselves that we want to become.
Yeah.
So share with us your lovely
So the
list.
first one that I'm really excited about, I'm excited about both, but I'm excited about this one just because it goes on theme with my last habit that I was talking about. Because when I reached that point of where I realized that I was thinking very negatively about a lot of situations, I kind of knew where to start, but at the same time I didn't know where to start, and I just I needed some type of guidance. So I found this book. It's called 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think by Brianna Wiest. I think it's going around on TikTok a lot right now, but I read this book back in, the first time I read it was I think it was like 2019, 2020. And I came across it, I think it might have been either Etsy or Pinterest where I came across it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, let me take a look at it. And so I ordered it, and it's a really long book, but it does a really good job of helping, like, it talks about topics that help with, like, reshaping the way you think and all of that. So very good. I don't want to spoil it for you guys,
Yeah.
but even though it is long, like a big book, I like how it's separated into different sections. So there's, like, different bullet points. So it does have, like, a little, each section has like essays, or some has like bullet points, numbers, different things like that. And honestly, you don't even have to read the whole book like through, like from front to back. What I like to do sometimes is just open it up and just see like whatever essay or whichever, you know, page speaks to me, because in the front it tells you, I don't remember if it's divided up into, so it's not divided up into like specific sections, but it does tell you like the table of contents, obviously.
Yeah.
And I like to go through it sometimes to just kind of see which one
What feels
feels right, or which one is, you know, more speaking to me in that whatever situation I'm going through. So it's one of those books where you can just literally just pick up and read 5 pages and feel enlightened or some type of guidance. So definitely recommend it.
I love that. And I was telling you, I actually really want to read that book. So
Yeah.
I was excited to hear about what you thought about it. So
Very
I'll
good.
have to read it in the future.
Very good. I think this is one of the few things from TikTok that I'll say I recommend. Because
Awesome.
there's always like a million things going on with like the TikTok shop and stuff. But this I recommend for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to put that on my list. It's already on my list, but I need to get to it at some point.
Yeah.
I'm notorious for like reading several, like 2 books at a time, where I'm like, I need to at
that
least finish
happens.
one before I like can move on to the next.
Yeah.
But I will get to it at some point.
Yeah.
Awesome. My first one, and I think this one's also kind of well known. This was gifted to me by a friend, and this was like really what's the word, like enlightening, and very transformative. It's called The 4 Agreements. It's by Don Miguel Ruiz. So it's Mexican author. We love the representation. Anyways, but it's one of those books where, I'm not gonna lie, it is a little like out there. But if you're really into like spirituality and like kind of ancient wisdom, like this is a really good book to just kind of get it. Just it's very, although it's very like out there, the way he writes about it is very like simple and like to the point. And the Four Agreements, basically he talks about how when we grow up we agree to four things, and he talks through about like what each agreement is, that we need to basically have in our life in order to live our fullest expression and live the life that we're meant to live. And it's really interesting because it'll go through and put in a way things that we kind of, I guess, sort of agreed to that aren't good for us, and like kind of like puts it in writing in a way where you wouldn't think about it in that way. Just like things as a child that he was like I'll just say like one of the examples because it's kind of hard to explain, but like something that he said was like growing up as a kid, whenever we were, being loud or like being our fullest selves, like sometimes we were told like you're too loud, you're annoying, like you need to calm down. So we agreed, okay, I can't be my like fullest self because that's not accepted, so I'm gonna agree to being like a very dim version of myself because that's like what's accepted and that's what I need to be. So it's like little things like that, like our parents taught us that like we can't be feeling things fully because that's too much and they don't know how to handle that. So it's like we need to agree to only feeling this much about it. So it's like things like that where you're like, it's one of those where you like read through it and you're like, I have to reread that again because like, whoa, it's like, let me just take a moment and like sit with that phrase for a second. So really awesome book. And I've read it like 3 times again because it's like it's one of those sames that you just kind of go through, and it's not terribly long. Like it's pretty easy read. So it's like one of those just to have, and like whenever you need to like kind of get grounded again, you pull this out. So
and I have it in Spanish, and
oh yeah,
it's great.
Yes, I'll have to read it in Spanish.
We can switch.
Yes. Little book club. But yes, so definitely recommend that one.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Yeah. And then the next one that I have is, if not one of, probably my favorite. It's The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I read this back in honestly I can't remember, but I've read this like 3 or 4 times already. And it's so good. One of the biggest takeaways is just kind of just showing you that you are capable of achieving your dreams no matter what. And there's so many takeaways in this book, and just I feel like every time that I've read it, I've discovered something new, or I've kind of looked at it from like in a new perspective, and every time it's so enlightening. And I'm pretty sure this book is like pretty old. I don't know when it came out, but it's been out for quite some time.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time that I heard of this book was I was in high school, and I remember somebody was talking about it, but I never really paid attention to it. But it always just kind of like stayed in my mind because they would always say like, oh, The Alchemist, it's such a good book and stuff. But I never really paid attention to it. And then once I actually did, I was so glad that I did.
Yeah.
Aww. And then looking back on it before we started recording, because I hadn't touched it in a while, probably like a little over a year I hadn't touched it. So I started looking through it, and there's so many like highlighted parts in here. And it just reminded me of why I love this book and just like the different quotes and stuff. One of the ones that I have here highlighted that I really like, it says, why do we have to listen to our hearts? And then it says, because wherever your heart is, that is where you'll find your treasure. And then going off of that, on the next page, it says, why should I listen to my heart? And then it says, because you will never again be able to keep it quiet. Even if you pretend not to have heard what it tells you, it will always It will always be there inside you, repeating to you what you're thinking about life and about the world.
I love
So it's just like
that,
different
yeah.
little quotes like that that are
Right.
like very touching. And the first time that I read it, I don't think I remember seeing
Yeah.
that as many like quotes that were touching and stuff. But as you read it and you become more acquainted with it, it just seems like all those things just start like sticking out to you, and I love it.
Yeah.
10 out of
that's
10 will
awesome.
always recommend it.
That's awesome. I know. I was telling you, I have it and I started reading it, but it's one of those books that I'm like, at the time when I got it, I found another book and then I started reading that one.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely have to finish that one.
Yeah.
So.
And going off on that book, I have one more thing. Let me see. So one of the things that I had written down in terms of like the quotes and stuff that go off on like that talks about like following your dreams and stuff. It says, and when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you achieve it. So it goes along with like the theme of like the soul project and how we're very spiritual and it helps you like like with manifesting and different things like that. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite quotes. Like
Yeah.
I will forever stick by it. Like put that on my
Yeah.
tombstone.
Yeah. No, I've seen that quote, I think on Instagram or like Pinterest or something a couple of times. And it's funny because I got that quote and I think I either like saved it to like one of my like Pinterest boards or
Yeah.
something, or like I had it like saved, and then I got the book and I read it and I saw that quote because I think there's also a part of that in the beginning too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this was the quote that I like. I didn't even know that it was from that, to be honest. I just saw the quote and I liked it. So I was like, oh, okay. So it was like a little like, okay, I should be reading this, you know?
Like a little confirmation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even though I haven't finished it yet. But
It's okay.
But I will at some point when the time is right. So that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Another one. So this one, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Young Pueblo. He's kind of like I wouldn't say like a poet, but he just like writes like short phrases or like little paragraphs and stuff. And so this is actually like one of his first books. I have his like other book too, because I just loved the way that he writes. This one's called Inward. And it basically is just kind of like a big self-reflection book. So, I mean, the stuff that he writes in here, it's crazy. Like on the back, he has, I guess, like his overall theme of this book. And it says, true power is living the realization that you are your own healer, hero, and leader. So it's really just like a very powerful book. And this is very special to me because, I don't know, it just like helped me like kind of find that inner power. And it just really helped along the journey of, you know, self-realization and self empowerment. So like I literally have this like on my bedside, like every now and then I'll like pull it out and just be like, what do I like, you know, just like what is today's like theme, or like what do I want to listen to, or like what do I want to hear. So for example, I just flipped through this and it said, I started speaking my truth when being free became more important than guarding the fear of my ego.
Ooh.
So like, I mean, like
Yeah.
he's awesome. And like, it's really cool because it's divided into different themes. So like on the table of contents, it's like the first theme is distance. So it talks about like little phrases and stuff of like distancing yourself and distancing from others. And then the second one is union, and then interlude, and then self-love, and then understanding. So it just like, it's very, very interesting, and like it just goes so deep. Like it's like every time you read it again, you're like, you experience it on a different level.
different
like
level,
there's
yeah.
always something to uncover there. So this is a good one.
Yeah.
So I still haven't like read the whole thing. It's not one of those that you just kind of read. It's just kind of like, okay, let me read a couple of these, and then you're like, okay, let me like sit and
Yeah.
you know, soak in what I just like read. So he's great.
I have another one of his books.
Yeah.
I didn't bring it with me, but it's really good. And
Yes.
it also talks about like his background and his story and how he came about to like writing and stuff, and it's super inspirational. So he's such a great artist. I definitely or writer. He's like I recommend him so much.
Yeah, I follow him on Instagram. He's got like he's always posting like different things.
Little snippets and stuff.
So good. So that's another one that I highly recommend, especially during this time. Like you know, it's just really good to hear this kind of consume this type of content. You know, like. I know, like, it's funny because there's, like, the brain rot, like, TikTok and stuff, and I'm like, what is this? I'm like, I need to, like, get some other type of content.
Yeah.
So this is, like, my, like, grounding, you know, after I've seen all this weird stuff on the internet. So I'm like, okay, I need to touch some grass. So here it is. And then my last one. This one's called Think and not thick.
Thick.
This one's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and this one's old too. I don't know exactly when it was written, but I believe it was probably like in the 1950s, maybe. I don't know. This author, he's actually very well known in the like the mindset space. I was telling Jorge, like, I feel like this book was ahead of its time when he wrote it. And it's basically, although it does talk about like how to become rich, like monetary, but it also just kind of goes through the steps of like how to actually like make your goals into plans and then into reality. And it also talks a lot about like there's also that mindset aspect of it, and it's like, yes, you can do A, B, C, and D, but if you don't switch that mindset, it's not gonna work, you know. So this is a very good book for, I feel like, I mean, any goals that you have. I'm not gonna lie, I got this book because Lana Del Rey mentioned it in one of her interviews. She's just talking about how like she read this book and it changed like her life, and that's how she was able to like be so determined in her career and like successful. So I was like, all right, add to cart. And so it's really good. It's a little bit of a long read, and it's a little I mean, it was written in like the 50s, I think, so it's like the wording, it's not very up to the times, but it's definitely one of those like I'm gonna learn a lot from this. It's a very educational book, so I highly recommend this.
I haven't read that one, so I'll definitely have to look into it.
Yes, you can read this.
We can like do a little book swap.
Yeah, we'll do a little book exchange. So but I hope you guys liked those recommendations. And again, if you have any books too that you guys are loving right now or have read at some point and feel very connected to, or just feel like it really helped you guys, like please send those. That way, you know, we can all share what we've experienced and the knowledge that we've gained. Sharing is caring. So and then you were talking about the quotes, and I didn't really have any quotes specifically from these books, but there is one quote that I've been kind of like not obsessed over, but
reflecting on, maybe.
Reflecting on, like it kind of hit, you know. So this one is by Buna Mohammed, and it's just it says, sometimes you find yourself in the middle of chaos, and sometimes in the middle of chaos you find yourself. And I just think that's a very powerful like perspective to have. And it's like, you know, you could either see things as a terrible moment or you can see things as an opportunity, and that is where success can happen. Because if you are just gonna think about reasons why things aren't working out, or like why you can't do something, then of course you're never gonna be able to.
You're not gonna be able to.
But if you're like, okay, actually, let me see the silver lining in all of this. Like, let me see the good out of it and take it as an opportunity, because everything is an opportunity, you know. So that was very life-changing for me. So I
No, I
hope
like that. Yeah.
I
Very
hope it's-
grounding.
It is like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just kind of like, I don't know, just the idea of chaos. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, I think that's just, I don't know. It's just, it's very visual to me
Yeah.
too. It's like, I can see it, you know, it's like someone in like the middle of the tornado.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, in the middle of the tornado, it's actually very calm and serene in the eye of, you know, the hurricane in the eye of the tornado. But it's like sometimes there's a reason why things are happening, and
Yeah.
once you find that reason, it's like, oh, I see it now, you
Yeah.
know, and then you grow from it. So
Confirmation to trust the process.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this.
Yes, this was fun. I know you really enjoyed that last episode with the 6 mind shifts. So let us know if you like that format.
Yeah.
And we can do some more. But yeah, so again, thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining us.
For the podcast and our
Yeah.
book club. And
Yeah, and our book
our
club.
quote club. Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
We'll get t-shirts, and we'll get
Mugs,
and
tote
mugs.
bags, hats, everything.
Exactly, everything. So again, thank you again for supporting our podcast, and we hope that you have been enjoying our episodes so
Yes.
far. And if you're just tuning into this episode, please look back at some of our older episodes just to
Yes.
get some more of this fun energy.
Yes.
Wisdom
From
This
your
is for-
soulmates.
for free.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for some more stuff that we have in store.
Yeah.
Get some more episodes planned, and you might be seeing some guests on here
Yes.
as well.
Very soon.
Working on that, so
Yes.
hopefully we will get some new voices. I know if you're probably getting tired of us, but we'll get some fresh energy in here at some point. So thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
We'll see you very soon.
Yes.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.